laziness.
I've often thought about just leaving Christmas lights up because what's the point where I live? No one can see them but us anyway.
I put up in my house, in the Casa de Love last year. I put up Mardi Gras lights around my tree or around my window that, because I've got one window that looks out to the back courtyard. Last year, I put up purple, green, and gold Mardi Gras lights. They're still up, Zoe. They're still up.
Are they, do they attract geese?
The sons of guns were back in my yard today. I woke up this morning feeling like P. Diddy. Woke up, got dressed, threw on the Rabbits jersey.
Which I want to put. Jealous.
Legit, right?
I would love one of those. But since you're wearing that killer jersey, you should have went Happy Gilmore on the geese.
I got to tell you, it's a temptation every time. I get up this morning, I get dressed, throw on the Rabs jersey, walk out the door, because when you walk out my apartment door opens to an inside hallway, and then like 10 feet down is the exit door that goes out to the backyard, or you can turn right and go out to the front parking lot where I park. So I open the door at, 9 this morning, run a little bit late, open the door about 9, and what do I hear? Like a nightmare from the beyond. Huh? I'm like, no. It's like the beginning of that horror movie, Zoe, where like the teenagers are walking through the old abandoned factory, and then you just hear back like footsteps from the other side of the building. That, but they're honks. So I look out the back door. I don't open it because I don't know if they have laid their ambush trap yet. I look out the back door. And there they are, Lonzo. About 40 of these little jack wagons, and they're all sitting there about 13 feet from the door, eating whatever poor animals they've decided to murder today because they eat meat, not plants, like a regular bird. And they're just wandering. And I'm like, all right, it's time to get into sprint to the car mode.
Your footstep mic drops were dead on. You might have a history in Foley or beatboxing, or maybe both.
I throw down some sick beats.
Do you?
Yeah, I'll do it later. Can't do it on the spot. Thinking about it too much. Item number 1 on the lunch breakdown today. The 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. You had him. You had him, Atlanta. You had their head on the ground. You had your cleats on their neck. And Adam Duval grand slam in the bottom of the first inning. It's 4-0 Atlanta. And you didn't just open the door for the Houston Astros. You opened it. You held it open. You did the little Butler bow as the Astros walked through it, and you let them rock right through the door. Right through the door. You opened it for them. You invited them in. They came into your house. They took what you wanted, and now you got to go down to Houston. You could have clinched at the house. Although it's interesting, somebody pointed out that since like 2013, I think, since like 2013, no World Series has been clinched at home. How about that? Isn't that wild? No home wins in the World Series. Now, keep in mind that a lot of those series, a couple of those series were 2-2, 1-1-1s, and now we're in a 2-3-2, which means 6 and 7 are both on the away field. Well, both on the home field. So it makes sense. But this is big. This is big for the Bravos. Last night, I genuinely don't know. I said on the show last week that everything that I said about Brian Snitker, I took back, right? I had just comments and complaints about Brian Snitker coming into the playoffs, through the NLDS. I had all these different complaints. And I said last week, you know what? I take them all back. I take it all back. Brian Snitker has been money pulling the strings. Can anybody Explain to me why Tucker Davidson got to start last night. Who's Tucker Davidson, Rob? That's a great question, hypothetical listener I made up for this situation. Tucker Davidson is a young man who has not pitched a baseball professionally since June. Since June was the last time he threw a ball. Had an okay opening frame, gave up nothing in the top of the first. The Braves get a Duval blast. 4 ribbies on one swing of the bat. It's 4-0 Braves. Then, top of the second, they give up 2. Top of the second, they give up 2. It's 4-4. Just like that. Grand slam in the first inning, and you get all 4 Astros runs back. Then Freddie Freeman hits a solo shot in the bottom half of the third. Feels like, okay, maybe there's a little destiny to this. There was not. Top of the 5th, the Astros net 3 more. Top of the 7th, the Astros net another. Top of the 8th, the Astros net another. It's 9-5 Stros on 12 hits. And the Braves find themselves now having 2 games to win 1 down in H-Town. I kind of don't love it. And don't tell me the Braves can't lose a 3-1 series lead because we watched them do it literally a year ago. My hand, Lonzo, is on the panic button. I'm not like holding my hand up to press it. I'm not slamming down on the panic button. My hand is resting on the panic button.
And you got to wait an entire day.
I kind of need it.
Not till tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 8:09 p.m., Game 6. Braves have 2 to win 1 on the road. The Astros have not been historically good at home in the World Series since 2017, but the Braves will split with them already. So there's some reason for optimism. But to me, it's waning. It's waning. We'll talk more about that game later on. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. Your new college AP poll is out, and it is interesting. It is interesting. The AP poll is out. Georgia maintains their stranglehold, baby, on the number 1 spot. That's a Ted Nugent reference. 8-0, Cincinnati keeps their spot at number 2 at 8-0. Really only 1 game left the Bearcats have to really worry about, which is that SMU matchup. Of course, SMU lost this weekend as well. Drops them to 7-1. Alabama number 3 and Oklahoma at number 4 at 9-0. Michigan State, by the way, if I may, victory lap, you're welcome. Told you. Sparty was getting Big Brother this year. Nobody listened to me. Everybody, did you pick Michigan or Michigan State? I can't remember.
I am in a state of, I don't know.
Lonzo's just glazed eyes staring at the wall.
I know I did send you my picks.
You did send the picks.
Yes. I think I may have went with Michigan, actually.
Man, I
as painful as that was.
I tried to tell y'all. Sparty was going to the big house and going up against the big house and getting the dub. And they did. Michigan State in the top 5 for the first time since 2015.
Yeah,
the Spartans.
I picked Michigan.
Very nice.
No,
very nice.
Not
Sparty.
really.
Almost for me. That's a free win for me. I told y'all. Ohio State, Lonzo's boys, number 6. This is interesting, Lonzo. Ohio State is number 6 at 7-1. Who's right behind them? The 1, Oregon, checking in at number 7, a spot behind Ohio State. How about that?
I guess it's a better record. You know, the AP is good and all, but the real thing happens tomorrow. It is tomorrow, right? I believe.
Yep.
And so then we're going to find out what the committee really thinks about things.
Yes, we are. Number 8, Notre Dame at 7-1. Michigan falls to 7-1 and falls to number 9 in the rankings. And the Demon Deeks make their appearance in the top 10. Wake Forest at 8-0, all the way up inside the top 10. The Cowboys of Oklahoma State at 7-1. Auburn 6-2, and Texas A&M 6-2 or 12-13. Baylor at 14. Ole Miss falls to 15 after going 6-2. 8-0 UTSA at 16. BYU 17. 18 Kentucky. Iowa, Houston, and Coastal Carolina are 19, 20, and 21. Penn State. Oh, what a weekend for Penn State. Ouch. They fall down at 5-3 to number 22. SMU at 24. Louisiana Lafayette, who I believe has App State this weekend at 7-1, number 24, and Fresno State rounds out your top 25. Pittsburgh lost to Miami. And yes, Hurricane Jeff, I got your text. Congratulations on the dub over the Panthers. I thought that they would not be trapped by the Hurricanes in a trap game, a hangover game, but the Canes came out and did what they needed to do. Pittsburgh dropped from number 17 out of the top 25. Iowa State is out again after losing at West Virginia. Rob Brown will take another bow on that one. I tried to tell you, the Mountaineers at home are dangerous. The Cyclones jumped back in the rankings last week, but it was a brief stay there, now gone. And the Aztecs of San Diego State, after 4 weeks in the top 25, are out. The SEC has 6 teams inside the top 25, numbers 1, 3, 12, 13, 15, and 18. The Big Ten has 5 teams inside of the top 25. The Big 12 has 3. The American Conference has 3. The Sun Belt has 2. The Mountain West has 1. How about this, Lonzo? The American Conference, the Sun Belt, and the Mountain West all have more or as many top 25 teams as the ACC and the Pac-12. Wow.
Are you really surprised by that?
A little bit. I mean, come on.
So then it comes down to the ACC seems like they're playing a whole lot better, at least against Clemson. So they're not really playing better. It's just Clemson's playing a whole lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
That is correct. As the great Chris Farley once said. The Independents have 2 ranked teams now as well. Texas A&M and Auburn have a matchup coming up, the 3rd time that the Tigers and Aggies have met while both ranked since A&M joined the SEC all the way back in 2011. So that's where we stand right now with our AP Top 25 poll. When we come back, we'll get to item number 3, a review of football as we do on Mondays around the great state of South Carolina. Clemson. Oh, good win for you guys. Bad L for Rob Brown's wallet. Going to break that game coming down here in a second. And the Panthers. How about the Panthers? Y'all, they did exactly what they needed to do yesterday. We break down the X's and O's of the Tigers and the Panthers when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
QC Kinetics.
Tell you about my friends at QC Kinetics. Here's the deal. Joint pain is real, and unfortunately, it's something that is going to happen to everybody. As you age, your body wears down. Ask me how I know. I slept the wrong way on Saturday night. Sunday was an L for me. All right? Joint pain happens. And as you age, your body does not heal, repair, and replace that connective tissue inside your joints like it used to do. So as that connective tissue wears down, you end up in a spot where bits that ain't supposed to rub against each other do, causes inflammation, causes pain. And you're going to get told at some point, well, you're going to need surgery. We're going to have to go in there. We're going to have to replace the joint. We're going to have to put some synthetic stuff in there. Before you do that, before you get call our friends at QC Kinetics. Call our friends at QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free. And when you do, what they're going to be able to do is offer you non-surgical regenerative therapies. They are going to be able to go in, give you the treatment. You don't have to get sliced, diced, put under anesthesia. You don't have to go on steroids. You're going to go in, get the treatment, and get back to your day-to-day life. Just like that connective tissue starts to heal, starts to repair itself. And as it does, you are going to see the results. And the results are no more joint pain. It's just that simple. 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free. Or go online at qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com. Learn all about it. It's our friends at QC Kinetics. Excuse me just a second, stream. I'm going to step away and blow my nose because hello, allergies.
So you never miss a game. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps.
Okay, we're back. Hello to everybody.
Sports Center update. I'm Matt Pauley. High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m.
So I did get some of the my floor stuff done though, even though I was
How's the bridges of Alonzo County? Any movement?
All right, so today, as I'm walking down or down and up, I come upon the construction crew, and the guy assures me that I'll be able to drive across it this afternoon.
Really?
We'll see.
What are they doing to it? Just packing more dirt?
They got to tear the entire thing out and got pipe big enough that leaning over I can walk through.
Really?
I mean, that's how big the bridge is.
So they're putting like a
there's
channel through it.
Yeah, two pieces. There was already pipe in it, but the pipe was broke.
Yeah.
In the middle, and it caused erosion, and that's what
That's
happened.
where it worked out. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're putting a new gigantic pipe down.
Yeah, they are. And then they got to pack dirt over top of it and everything. I got to say, I don't believe I'm driving over it this evening, but we'll see. I mean, I hope so. I hope these guys are that good. They probably are.
Yeah.
I just got lucky, and they started a little bit late because I was afraid I was going to have to find a way down into the creek bed, climb up the other side, and then climb up the hill in order to get to my car.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk some football, shall we? How about the Carolina Panthers getting a win on the road over the Falcons of Atlanta 2 weeks in a row? I have picked incorrectly. I honestly thought the Falcons were going to get the Panthers, but
hey, who's Abdullah? Who is that guy?
Stud, right?
That guy was
Stud.
That guy was awesome yesterday.
Chuba Hubbard didn't have himself a bad day. 204 yards rushing for the Panthers yesterday. 204 on the ground.
So imagine what that will be like when McCaffrey gets back if he's healthy.
Here's what I really took away from that, Zoe. Honestly, what I took away from that more than anything else, what I took away from that was that when CMC comes back, right, as we head into week 9, he's eligible to return. As we head into week 9, he's eligible to return. What I took back is 200, and I think it was actually 203 on the ground. 203 yards on the ground. You do not have to run Christian McCaffrey 24, 25, 26 times a game anymore. You don't. You can run to the Falcons have a decent run defense. They're not great at getting in the quarterback, and you could see that because Sam Darnold looked much more confident in the pocket yesterday. Looked much more comfortable.
I'm seeing some reports that McCaffrey may be back at practice Wednesday.
Really?
Yes.
That'd be big. That'd absolutely be big.
But will Darnold be there?
Yeah. He got popped in the dome late in that game. Was unavailable for media comments after the game because he was going through treatment for his injury. I have not seen anywhere yet. Let me do a quick little Twitter scan. I have not seen anything yet about Sam Darnold's injury, whether it is a concussion or not. I am intrigued. Oh, Lonzo. There it is.
You probably saw what I saw.
Is it about the Denver Broncos?
Yes, it is.
Then you did. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL and the Odyssey app. BetQL, get better at betting. Be a better bettor and beat the books by going to BetQL.com. And Joe Giglio of BetQL will join us live on the show tomorrow to talk some football. Broncos finalizing a trade to send 8-time Pro Bowl linebacker Von Miller to the LA Rams in exchange for 2 second-day 2022 draft picks, according to Adam Schefter. Von Miller, according to Adam Schefter, is currently in the Broncos locker room saying his goodbyes to his friends. He's been there a long time.
That's the only team he's played for, isn't it?
I believe so. Von Miller is one of the look. Lonzo, I don't know if there's any such thing as a lifer in the NFL anymore, right?
Good luck, Vaughn. Glad to see you leave the West. Well,
I'm glad to
the
see him leave
AFC
Denver.
West.
He deserves better than what Denver's putting on the field right now.
Where he's going to, he's got a good shot of doing something
Yeah.
this year for sure.
Yeah. Entered the 2011 NFL draft at the Senior Bowl. He was the defensive MVP. He was on his first career play from scrimmage, forced a fumble against the Raiders. That started an illustrious career with the Denver Broncos. And now here we are 10 years later, 8 Pro Bowls later, and he's getting shipped out to the LA Rams. I don't know if there's any such thing as a lifer in the NFL anymore. Von Miller would have been a lifer. But when Brady left the Patriots to go to the Bucs, it was like, okay, the era of guys playing for only one team is over if they're having a full career. Like if your career ends because of an injury, sure. But guys playing long careers in one place is pretty much done at this point.
Well, he's already won everything he could win as far as individual accolades. He just needs a Super Bowl. So why not go somewhere where he's got a shot
Yeah,
at it?
I agree. That's the one thing he doesn't have as a ring.
I don't know. Was he around with Elway? I don't know if he was or not.
2011.
Or with Peyton Manning. So
Yeah,
he
I mean,
may already have
he
a
was
ring.
there when Peyton was there.
So
Yeah,
he's
you're
probably
right.
already got a
You're
ring.
Right. You're right.
But you get one, you want another one. You're not going to get one staying in Denver.
Yeah, I got a feeling this is more about not paying him and putting money back into the team because they
It's
need a lot of
a
pieces.
Denver fire sale is what this
Yeah.
is. Denver's
Yeah.
like, all right, we're done.
Yep. Time to start this franchise over. Von Miller now an LA Ram. All right, let's get back to the Panthers. Couple of things I took away from it. Number one, I know Christian McCaffrey is a really, really good running back. You don't have to run him 25 times a game. You don't have to accelerate the time between injuries by overusing him, by wearing the tread off of him. You got guys now. All right. Amir Abdullah looked really good yesterday. 82 yards for Chuba Hubbard. Touchdown. 24 carries for him. Abdullah had 31 yards on 8 carries, but was really good out of the backfield, right? And that's the thing. The whole thing about McCaffrey is not just running the ball 24 times a game. It's also the number of times that he catches the ball and take hits. Well, Abdullah had 3 catches for 35 in big spots yesterday as well. Matt Rule called him a, quote, jolt of energy, end quote. I love what I saw. Remember, but going into last week, Matt Rule said that you were going to see a, quote, vastly different offense, end quote, and that they were going to run the ball more to take the ball out of the hands of Sam Darnold, right? We want to have less pressure on Sam so that he can continue to grow, develop, and get better. So what they do? They did that yesterday. They didn't do it last week against the Giants, right? And don't hit me with, well, they were playing from behind. No, they weren't early in the game. First half of that game, first quarter of that game, Alonzo, the Panthers ran the ball 13 times, threw it 19 times in the first quarter. The worst pass to rush ratio in a quarter of the season for Matt Rule. Can't do it. Got to run the ball. What did they do this week? They came out and into the teeth of one of the best rushing defenses in football, they ran the ball over and over and over and over. And they utilized the run to set up the pass. And Sam Darnold looked like a different freaking quarterback yesterday. He looked like a different quarterback yesterday. He looked like a cat who was comfortable. He looked like a cat who was confident. He didn't have the happy feet in the pocket. Take the snap, set up, left, center, right, left, check down. And he did it all day. And the Panthers won the ball game.
He does need to learn how to slide a little bit more because he took 2 really big-time hits, and the second one knocked him out of the game.
He's an aggressive runner.
He is. He's not running like a quarterback. He's running like he wants to run through somebody. And he's a big dude, too. I think on the last hit, it was more, as they pointed out, his helmet came loose, and he hit the turf pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then the bad part is his teammates started picking him up. And I'm like, why are you picking him up, man? He just got rocked. Leave him down there. And luckily, that didn't do any further damage.
Sam Lamar Jackson Darnold, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, through 5 weeks, was it 5 weeks? He had 5 rushing touchdowns, led the league in rushing touchdowns for a hot minute. It's not bad. It's not bad. Shaq Thompson was big. Shaq Thompson was big in that game. Played in 35 of 53 defensive snaps, led the Panthers with 10 tackles, had an INT late in the second quarter that stopped a Falcons drive that looked like there were points attached to the end of it. You know, the rule said he, quote, turned the tide of the game.
I was going to say, the other thing about Shaq Thompson is he was everywhere. And every time you see any video after a play or something, he's right there. He's jumping up. He's excited, whether it's offense or it's defense. He brought the energy, and it's good to see him back and playing as well as he did yesterday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Panthers had 11 giveaways and 6 takeaways going into that game. They had turned it over 9 of those 11 times in the 4 losses. 9 of 11 turnovers came in 4 losses. Darnold was, I'm going to air quote this, responsible, end quote, for 8 of those turnovers. 2 or 3 of them were because guys were just dropping the ball. They won the turnover yesterday. Thompson had an INT. Stephon Gilmore made his debut too. He got a pick as well. Big one for him. Both of those came inside of Panther territory while the Falcons looked to be on scoring drives, and they were absolute game changers. Darnold, on the other hand, smart throws, looked poised in the pocket, let the run set up the pass. Yesterday, though, after the Giants game last Sunday, first time I went, I don't know if this team's trending upward like I thought they were going to be, right? That's a bad loss on the road, 25-3 loss on the road at the Giants. I don't know if this team's trending the right direction. Yesterday, and granted, here's the part where and this is, I guess, what I've been trying to say to Panthers fans all season long, though. Don't overreact. The Atlanta Falcons are not a good football team, okay? Not a good football team. And they have arguably the weakest home field advantage in the National Football League. The Falcons are 3-4. They were 500 coming into that yesterday. The Panthers are now 4-4. Don't get nuts. Now, here's the good news, Lonzo. The good news is after 8 games, the Buccaneers are 6-2. After 7 games, by the way, you're welcome, Panthers fans. We kept you in that. How about, Lonzo, Tom Brady throwing a pick 6 inside of a minute and a half left to play, only needing a field goal to win? He gets pick 6, and the Saints get the Sunday afternoon dub. You're welcome.
Who day?
You welcome. No. Who day is plagiarism. It's who dat. Get it right or pay the price.
I don't really care either way. I'm glad that Tom Brady made a mistake and he lost.
He blew it too. He just missed the read. He blew it. Bucks are 6-2. Saints are 5-2. The Panthers are 4-4. That ain't back, man. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. That being said, you beat a 3-4 football team in arguably the easiest away game you're going to get down in Atlanta.
See, you're saying don't get excited as a Panthers fan. I think you should, because you won a game you're supposed to win. Like they should have done against the Giants. They should have won that game because it's a game you're supposed to win. But this one, you were supposed to win this game, and you did. Atlanta's not that good. The Panthers are better than Atlanta. You won the game.
That's a step in the right direction, right? It's a step in the right direction, because last week you were supposed to win the game. You got hammered. The week before that, at Minnesota, I told you it was a toss-up game. You lost it. You were supposed to beat Philly at home. You did not.
Philly is won again yesterday. So, I mean, you can look at their schedule, but still, they're still winning. So that's not as bad of a loss.
3-5.
Yeah, but still.
They should be 2-6. But you're right. You're right. You won a game you're supposed to win. What did I say coming into this year? If the Panthers win the games that they are favored to win by Vegas in, they don't lose a game they're favored to win. 500, it's a good year. Now there's still work to do to get back to 500, man. There's still work to do to get back to 500. You got the Patriots this week. And by the way, Zoe, a Patriots team that put the Chargers away yesterday. This Patriots team ain't bad. You got the Cardinals, the best team in the NFC, maybe, the week after that. You got Washington, that should be a win. You got the Dolphins, that should be a win. You got the Falcons coming to the bank, that should be a win. You got the Bills, you won't be favoring that game. You got the Buccaneers, you won't be favoring that game. You got the Saints, I don't know, because we got to see what Jameis Winston's injury is. We got to see if Taysom Hill's the starter at that point. But that Saints defense is like legit right now. So maybe that might be a 50-50 game. And then you got the Bucs again. You win the games you're favored to win, your 500 ball club. That's an upward trajectory. That's good. Texas says, did y'all see the Von Miller trade just now? Yep, we talked about it, 7 minutes ago. Von Miller headed to the L.A. Rams in return for 2 second-day draft picks next year. Von Miller, who has been with the Broncos for 10 seasons, this was his 11th, I believe, is now an L.A. Ram. And the Rams just got better, by the way. Rams just got better. That's another ball club that is I think, towards the top of the potential Super Bowl list in the NFC, right? The Rams are 7-1. How about the NFC West? 7-1 Rams, 7-1 Cardinals. Of course, then you got the 3-4 Niners and the 3-5 Seahawks. Sheesh. All right, quick break. Back after this. Clemson, Florida State. 10-point win for the Tiger Men. Rob had FSU plus 9.5 on a bankroll bet. How did they lose? Oh, let me tell you. I was at the game, Lonzo. I watched that play happen in front of me. I watched my bank just go. Tell you about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Pardon me, Street. Steven said, round 2 of allergy season from hell is here for sure. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, without a doubt. And it really, 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 really sucks. It's doing good. Thought it was on the mend, even though I was sick my entire vacation. Saturday came in doing the show right at the end. It's like, no. I don't need an excuse to watch football all day, but I was sick and laying down and watch football all day.
Catering will fill your fajita, taco, and nacho bars with fresh and flavorful ingredients. Like proteins grilled every hour, over 35 pounds of tomatoes that we dice every single morning before opening, and seasonal salsas and picos that are made in-house. We've got something for everyone, even your Uncle Bill. Just order at Moe's.com/catering. Welcome to Moe's.
This feature sponsored by Dell. Now's the time to shop Dell Technologies' biggest sale of the year. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. So shop Black Friday early access deals on Windows 11 PCs, servers, storage, monitors, and more. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Protection 81 can be marketed on your service. Unlimited monthly messages from Echelon. Messaging grid screen time. Purchase required. Terms apply. Available at echelonfit.com/SMS.
What inspires you to move? Want to work out better and get in the best shape of your life? Then go to Echelon and get connected. With Echelon, you get top quality stationary bikes, smart rowers, sleek fitness screens, or elevated treadmills, now up to $400 off retail. Plus, you get connected to world.
Oh, they're getting a second and a third round pick. Shefty was wrong. Shocking.
He only says what he's told to say.
Get connected with Echelon today. And right now, for a limited time, radio listeners get up to $800 off MSRP. To get this Echelon exclusive radio discount, text TRAIN to 818181. Text TRAIN to 818181 to get up to $800.
I haven't carved a jack-o'-lantern in years. Dude,
Also,
kind of killed it. Kind of killed the game.
this is the first year I didn't do one. But me with a knife is probably not a good idea. Nice little cough.
Jameis Winston suffered torn ACL and MCL and will miss the remainder of the season. Cool.
They also were just talking about Derrick Henry. Fracture on the, I forget what kind of fracture they called it.
On his metatarsal, his toe.
That he may be gone for the rest of the season, too. They also said Adrian Peterson on his way to possibly fill in.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Rob, Alonzo, you, 844-477-3776. So we get to the end of the game. Clemson, FSU yesterday. Clemson, DJ gets strip sacked late in the game. The Noles take a lead. Three-point lead. They had a field goal blocked early, or excuse me, an extra point blocked early in the game. And it ended up being a huge difference, right? Because the Tigers were able to stay right in there, and the lead for FSU ended up being 3 instead of 4. It kind of changed the way the game got played. Clemson hung in there. Clemson kept it going. Late in the game, strip sack, fumble, return for a touchdown. FSU takes the lead back. And Clemson finished the game. Drove down the field. Will Shipley, by the way. Will Shipley is the MVP of that game, hands down. But the defensive line for Clemson was incredible. They decimated Florida State at the point of attack. And I think there was a little optimism there. Dare I say, it almost sounded like there was a bit of optimism from some Clemson fans in that game. I was blown away by the Clemson front four. They were, Jordan Travis never got comfortable, never got to a point where he was able to set. He was running for his life the entire game. And like I mentioned, Will Shipley, in, out, through, and around the entire FSU defense. The dude was an absolute monster. And we're going to talk about the good things we saw out of Clemson this week. But before we get there, I didn't get a chance to load it in. Zo, can I get sound to this computer over here? Because to mine. Because the end of that game, Rob Brown hammered FSU plus 9.5. Plus 9.5. I thought, man, I got this thing locked up. 24-20 Clemson. FSU's got the ball. Florida State's either going to score a touchdown here on the last play of the game with 4 seconds left, in which case, cool. Or they don't, in which case, all right, it's 24-20 Clemson. Rob Brown wins some money out of this deal. And then Florida State decided, nah, let's ruin that. Hello, bad beat.
See if Florida State can get a miracle. 4 seconds to go. Travis, little hook and lateral. And here we go. Travis scoops it up. They're still alive. That went backwards, but it's loose on the fumble. Boy, this is going to be interesting if it's a touchdown. It is. One more look. Time's out. Jordan Travis throws it back. And it's a loose live ball. It's a loose live ball. Barrett Carter picks it up. Touchdown. Guess his knee didn't touch before he got into the end zone.
That is a 10-point Clemson victory. 30-20. FSU plus 9.5. And that's how I lost that bet, Lonzo. That's the one. In fact, our buddy Chris on Saturday morning sends me a tweet. Missed your picks this week. Who are we taking? And I gave him a couple I liked. But I said, but hammer FSU plus 9.5. No way. No way is Clemson blowing out FSU. Clemson will win outright, but no way they blow them out. Lonzo, that's how I lost that bet. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, Rob Brown's going to give you picks on Thursday and Friday like he always does. Lonzo, I'm on a 3-week hiatus from putting money on games. 3-week hiatus from putting money on games because of that.
So you're waiting till your bank account recovers.
Correct.
Is that what you're doing? Okay.
Correct.
I will say,
I took a hit.
Watching that broadcast, I also took a hit because RG3 and his broadcast partner were discussing a certain kind of shoe. And
Any chance I know the type of shoe?
yeah, I just happen to be wearing them, which means I'll probably go out this weekend and buy some new shoes and just
Dad kicks.
retire these forever.
Are you rocking the Air Monarchs right now?
Yes, and they were specifically talking about those.
There he is.
And talking about how he doesn't wear those, but his dad probably does.
Correct. I just like to point it out that when the discussion about the hashtag dad kicks began, Lonzo said, these aren't dad shoes. And now he's got national, which means, and by the way, RG3 was in the area, which means he probably heard us talking about it at some point. And that's why they got brought up. Hashtag dad kicks. And Lonzo didn't believe me. He said, Rob, you're just picking fun. You're just making fun of me. And I tried to tell Lonzo, those are the daddest of dad kicks. Those in white New Balances. Those are the daddest dad kicks.
So there's a reason, and this goes for any kind of retail. If you go somewhere and you see the shelves are empty in certain places, but there's a whole lot of one thing, there's a reason why, and you probably shouldn't get that, even though you just don't want to leave without buying something. And so it's a mistake that I won't make again.
I mean, you had a guiding voice in your decision-making, Lonzo, and you elected to ignore it.
If I decide to go get new shoes Saturday, I'll be FaceTiming you and getting your professional opinion about whether
I tried to help you. I tried to tell hashtag dad kicks. I said, those are dad kicks. And Lonzo said, they're not dad kicks. They're cool. I said, yeah, that's what you say. If you're a dad, the Air Monarchs might as well be renamed to the Nike dad kicks. Because that's what they are. And RG3 called him out on it. I love it. I met RG3, by the way. Met him in the press box at the game on Saturday. Nice guy. Not real good on the mic, but nice guy.
He tries.
He does try. He does. Let's take a break. Back after this, we'll get a call in, get some tweets in, talk more Clemson FSU. Corey Diaz from the Greenville News will join us at 1:35. Talk some Gamecock football as they got a big one this weekend. Florida, who got decimated by Georgia on Saturday, coming to the house. Could South Carolina pull an upset? That and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes and Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your
Unfortunately, I couldn't get all the Halloween makeup out of my eyebrows, so that's why they're kind of black. I considered just shaving them completely off, but I have a mask to go with it, and I couldn't find it. But my granddaughter kept saying Batman, so I mean, you know, that worked. Yeah.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Stacks is on the line because, you know, when you come after dad shoes, those that wear them come out in force. What's up, big dog?
What's up? I do wear them. I just calling because I was thinking about y'all the other day, which was I was sad for where I was. I was in Old Town Mount Pleasant. There's this place called the Post House, and we're sitting down eating, fancy place, and wife keeps saying, "What are you looking at?" I realized all the waiters are wearing dad shoes. It turns out the uniform was dad shoes, so it's like a uniform. I mean, like a sea of Reeboks, the old Reeboks, and white Converses and white New Balances, right? So, you know, I look at that, and, you know, I'm laughing, we're talking about it, and we leave, and we notice there's like this little drugstore next door that serves food. So the next day for lunch, we come back to eat at the drugstore, and I look up at the board. They got the old school Pepsi board on the thing with the little letters, and they had a hot dog for $3, and then for $3.50 you could get a chili dog. And I was just like right back to it. What I said, you'll be starting to charge more. So there's a place in Mount Pleasant that y'all need to go because it's just all about y'all. Well,
there is a restaurant where the staff all wear dad kicks and where chili does not come on the hot dog unless you ask for it.
Right. It was 2 restaurants right next to each other. Couldn't believe it. It was like y'all got, you know, the Post House, and it's like Rexall Drugs or something. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Stathakis says that Rob Brown is ruining the upstate. What is it? Stacks, good to talk to you, big dog. Appreciate it. By the way, Chuck Taylors are not dad shoes. Chuck Taylors are still cool. Lonzo, you could wear a pair of Chucks. You'd pull off Chucks.
I have them. I wore some Saturday. Yeah.
You'd pull off Chucks.
I've never had any talk.
All right, coming up in the next hour, Corey Dance from the Greenville News joins us to talk South Carolina football. We'll break down that Clemson game further because I was impressed. Even if some of y'all weren't, I was impressed. And the biggest complaint about entertainment of the last few years that I have. All that more coming up. He's Zoe. I'm Rob. This is ESPN Upstate.
Just could not stop the Astros from scoring runs. Atlanta still leads the series 3-2, so they sit 1-1 away. World Series, but now they're going to do it in Game 6 and then 7 if needed. Will both be played in Houston. The pitching matchup for Game 6 tomorrow. Max Fried will go for the Braves. It will be Luis Garcia going for the Astros. Download the Score app.
So this is it. This is at Villanova. Watch so it's an elevated court. It's just person after person eats it coming onto the court.
You think they'd be smart enough to see the person before them and go, hey, why are they falling?
They have an admission rate of 25%. 1 out of 4 kids who applies to Villanova gets in, right? I'm gonna share it on the stream so you guys can watch with us. Watch these. It just kid after kid after kid biting it, getting onto the court. That is incredible.
No one got hurt, though. It doesn't look like.
Not that I'm aware of. Oh, that dude hit it hard. Oh, so did she. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, makes his triumphant return from his vacation. We're back, full strength, and ready to rock and roll. Just because I like doing this every couple of weeks. 12-team playoff bracket, right? 12-team playoff bracket. If we had the rules that were proposed, right? Conference champions and at-larges, et cetera. Lonzo, how interested are you in the 12-team playoff bracket if this is what it looks like? On the left-hand side of the bracket, we lead off with an 8-9 matchup of Ohio State versus Notre Dame. The winner of that gets Georgia. On the left side of the bracket.
By the way, I just want to say I'm completely down for that.
Oh, yeah. That's a great match to start. And then the winner gets Georgia.
Yeah.
You get a 5-12 matchup of Oregon versus Texas A&M. The winner of that game gets number 4 Cincinnati. On the right side of the bracket, you got the Michigan Wolverines versus Oklahoma State at number 10. The winner of that gets number 2 Michigan. And right now on the right side of the bracket, Alabama in a play-in game as the 6th seed gets Wake Forest number 11, and the winner of that gets Oklahoma. So your second round is Georgia versus either Ohio State or Notre Dame, Cincinnati versus either Oregon or Texas A&M, Michigan versus Oklahoma State, winner gets Michigan State, and Oklahoma versus the winner of Alabama and Wake Forest.
Do you hear anything in there that wouldn't be entertaining?
Thank you.
That all sounds excellent.
Thank you. 100%. Which of those hypothetical matchups do you think isn't going to be good? Oregon A&M would be great. Second round against Cincinnati would be knockout. Ohio State Notre Dame would be a blast. It'd be in the big house more than likely, unless you decide to put it in bowl games. Either way, winner of that gets Georgia. Michigan Oklahoma State would be a great game to watch. Winner of that gets Michigan State. And talking about rivalries, you're telling me in a second round matchup that Michigan State in a playoff game doesn't turn you on a little bit? You're telling me Alabama Oklahoma in a second round game doesn't turn you on a little bit? You're telling me Ohio State Notre Dame as a first round game doesn't get the juices going a little bit? I got to tell you, man, there's really nothing here that I don't like. Really nothing here I don't like. I'm looking at a 12-team playoff bracket, and I got to tell you, Lonzo, I don't know what the argument against it is right now, right? Oh, there's just too many games. Yeah, that's the thing we all hate. We all hate more football.
Well, you can't use the student-athlete thing anymore.
Nope.
Because they're getting paid. So, I mean, so they may miss one class.
Yeah, because colleges definitely don't make exceptions to allow them to go to school and play football.
Especially not for athletes. No, they don't make those. No.
I don't get it. Listen to that setup. 12 teams. Ohio State, Notre Dame, winner to Georgia. Oregon, Texas A&M, winner to Cincy. Michigan, Oklahoma State, winner to Michigan State. Alabama, Wake Forest, winner to Oklahoma. For real, give me the argument against it. There's too many games, doesn't work for me. The poor student athletes doesn't work for me. It would add another week onto the season, doesn't work for me. And I heard this one again this weekend. Yesterday, as a matter of fact. Having a talk with some friends of mine watching the Braves game last night. And one of them says to me, in a statement I still do not understand, Lonzo, well, it would take away from the importance of bowl season. Miss me with that.
Did they keep a straight face as they said that?
Oh, yeah. Older fan. And I get it. The older fans, I mean, there was a point in time when the bowl games had pride and pageantry and tradition, and it was like, oh, we're Rose Bowl champions. We're Independence Bowl champions, and that's cool.
That was last century. The last time that it really was last century. Last time that it was like
pre-BCS.
Yep.
It was pre-BCS the last time that anybody cared about the pageantry of the bowl games. No. Miss me. Bowl games are fun. I'll watch the Bahamas Bowl. I'll watch the Independence Bowl. I'll watch all of them. But please miss me with the whole concept of, but you'll take away from the importance of the bowl games. There is none. I'm sorry. You know what the importance of the bowl games is? Ask any coach. You know what the importance of the bowl games is now?
It's about getting extra practice.
Bingo. That's literally it. If you ask the players the importance of the bowl games, they'll tell you that killer swag bag that we get, right? I get a new set of head cans every time I make a bowl game.
And they usually get to go to an amusement park
of
some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you telling me that the Boise, Idaho Potato Bowl is like a thing for you? You want to go to Boise and celebrate your season? This 12-team playoff is way, way cooler to me than making sure that the Great Value Bowl in San Antonio or whatever gets its proper respect. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of bowl games, man. I'm a big fan of bowl games. I go to as many as I can. I'm kind of excited that we're so close to Charlotte and Atlanta and Myrtle Beach and all these places that have bowl games. I'll hit as many of them as I can. But, hey, Lonzo, what's the name of the bowl game that's in Orlando this year? Ain't the Gator Bowl anymore. The Cure Bowl.
Ah, Cure Bowl.
The Cure Bowl at Camping World Stadium, which as of right now is projected to have UCF versus FAU. There's a bowl game with a ton of respect on it.
Wow. Will people who actually live around there go to it?
Yeah, a few.
Okay.
A few. Because it'll be on Saturday.
And they know the teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that.
Here's one for you. How about the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl? Right now, College Football News has that game projected as Appalachian State versus Western Kentucky. You guys going out of your way for the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl?
Watch out for them Hilltoppers. I'm not gonna say anything disparaging about that. I don't want someone angrily coming into the room.
I can't hear yet.
He might show up early just for that.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl. That one's in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz. That one projected right now, Lonzo, Norfolk State versus Jackson State. Big one lined up there.
Wow.
How about UTEP v. Utah State in the New Mexico Bowl? How about UTSA versus BYU in the Radiance Tech Independence Bowl? How about Western Michigan versus Louisiana Monroe in the Lending Tree Bowl?
All right, Rob, you're missing the point. It's not about the teams that play in the bowls. It's about the bowls themselves. It's about the mystique. It's about the history. It's about all that stuff.
Oh, then you'll be very excited to tune on to ABC at 7:30 on December 18th, Lonzo, when Fresno State and USC line it up in the, and no, I'm not making this up, Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
Is there anything more self-serving than, I mean, come on. I mean, that's
Oh, wait, no, I'll take that breath of silence to see if the fireworks were going to start going off outside when I announced the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Tell me, Lonzo, all about the respect and the grandeur and the importance of the bowls when one of them is the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
I was just trying to rep the older folks. I didn't mean it.
But do you get what I'm saying here, people? Do you get what I'm saying, America? 12-team playoff. We get Michigan, Oklahoma State, winner to Michigan State. Alabama, Wake Forest, winner to Oklahoma. Ohio State, Notre Dame, winner to Georgia. Oregon, Texas A&M, winner to Cincy. Lonzo, I'll take those 4 games over like all the other bowls. I will trade you all the bowls. I'll trade you the Sugar Rose Fiesta Cotton Bowl in order to get a 12-team playoff going. Without a doubt. You can have the Big 4 and all the rest. Because what's a bigger Big 4 than these first-round matchups? And then knowing that you got 4 more big games coming up the next weekend, and then you got 2 more big games coming up the next weekend, and then I got a national championship to play. Yeah, the Sugar Bowl deserves more than that.
So what's holding this up? What is stopping this from happening?
Great question. Great question. I'm curious. Why are we not pulling the trigger on this? There's my best argument right there.
Is it the college president stopping this? Is it the NCAA stopping this?
I genuinely don't know, because here's the thing. If you're Notre Dame, if you are Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, or Alabama, do you know where the first round of this playoff is likely to take place? At your house. That's a free home game. That's a free home game. And you're going to get a cut. Lonzo, who do you think is going to have more viewers? The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl on Saturday, the 18th of December, or Ohio State Notre Dame in a round of 12 game?
Yeah, I'm guessing everybody would watch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are a college football fan, you're just like those. Okay, I got to see that.
Yeah. Hell, what's the worst game of the opening round? Alabama, Wake Forest, probably. Oregon, Texas A&M probably is not going to get a lot of love on the East Coast. That's the worst game, is Oregon, Texas A&M. If Oregon and Texas A&M played this weekend, Lonzo, game day would be there. College game day would be at the stadium of Texas A&M if they were playing this weekend. They're in Cincinnati instead. Just why? How is making sure the Sugar Bowl is better than this 12-team lineup? Come on, man. Texas says, hey, Rob, ask South Carolina fans how great the bowls have been the past few years. Oh, wait, never mind. We're just taking cheap shots today. I like it. Send in the cheap shots.
Your team ain't eligible yet. You might want to be careful.
Fair play. Speaking of cheap shots. All right. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute from right now. We'll keep breaking games down. Remember, coming up at 1:35, we are going to be joined right here on the air by Corey Diaz from the Greenville News. We'll talk South Carolina football. That's coming up in a few minutes. We'll talk Clemson FSU when we come back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
Moving forward, head coach Matt Rule says that they would need to sign another quarterback to go along with PJ Walker, who came in after Donald got injured. Panthers will match up against the Patriots coming up on Sunday. College football on Saturday. Clemson, they pick up a win over Florida State, 30-20. They're going to return to action when they face off against Louisville. Clemson basketball tonight, they play an exhibition as they will match up against Georgia, Southwestern State. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Hey, Panthers fans, it's Rob Brown from ESPN Upstate, and this season, Classic Rock 101.1 is your home for Carolina football. Our pregame coverage starts at 11 a.m. with Carolina Kickoff live from Wings Etc. at 2644 Boiling Springs Road in Boiling Springs, with special thanks to Skatel. Get ready for another exciting season with the Silver and Blue and the best Panthers coverage in the area on ESPN Upstate and live every play, every game on Classic Rock 101.1.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There, don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you can save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Limited discount unavailable in all states or situations.
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door. You get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home. Deliver direct from dealer to driver. Thrill starts here.
The Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner here from Monday Night Football. With a preview of the New York Giants and the Kansas City Chiefs. For neither of these teams are where they thought they'd be week 8, both under 500 and both looking to get their season on track.
Kevin, we can talk a little bit about the New York Giants, Daniel Jones, some of the progress that he's made. Come on, the real storyline is the Kansas City Chiefs. So many people saw them going back to their 3rd straight Super Bowl, and as you said, there's all kinds of chaos going on. The defense is struggling to stop anybody, but more importantly, it's their offense. And Patrick Mahomes making a lot of mistakes, turning the football over. They've got to right some of those wrongs to get back on track.
Joining from Rockin' Arrowhead for the Giants and the Chiefs coming up on Monday Night Football.
Get ready for the game with more details and preview at westwood1sports.com. And remember to listen to the NFL right here all season long.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now.
Welcome in, Josh. Good to see you, big dog. Appreciate you coming by, man.
If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-878-6993. 800-878-6993. 800-878-6993.
Optima Tax Relief.
And now the sounds of football from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Baby. Enjoy the taste of football too. Hand-tossed pies, hoagies, wings, meatballs, hot pretzels, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, on Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
Did you see Aaron Rodgers' John Wick costume? Pretty sick.
Yeah, it was.
After defeating unbeaten and third-ranked USC 38-7. 36 players went on to play in the NFL.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Just like in football, there's nothing like that one perfectly timed addition to get your team off and running. That's where LinkedIn steps in. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. Then their filtering and prioritization tools help you narrow down to just the most qualified candidates for you. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn #1 in increasing the quality.
So did you enjoy the smell of cow patties as you sat in your car for 2 hours trying to leave Clemson Saturday night?
Oh, man. I drove on campus and I was talking to my mom. And I was like, Clemson fans better be glad I don't dislike them. She was like, why? And I was like, because I just drove on campus and like the first 10 acres are just cows. And I thought it was a joke. Just cows everywhere.
It's an ag school, man.
Rolling on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob, the great one, back at the helm. What a weekend in the NFL, huh? Good and bad. Good and bad. Brady goes down to the Saints yesterday. Pick 6 from P.J. Williams on Tom Brady. All he needed was a field goal to win that game, and ends up throwing 6 the other way. But a lot of fallout from today. Derrick Henry was having, I thought, Lonzo, a unanimous MVP season. Was there anybody voting anybody but Derrick Henry as the MVP?
No, I think he had this thing in the bag already.
Yeah, halfway through the season. Derrick Henry, without a doubt, your MVP this year. He has, and this is going to annoy the hell out of him, I have no doubt, a broken metatarsal. That's a toe. Broken toe for Derrick Henry, and it looks like he's done for the year, possibly. Maybe could rehab it and get back in time for the very end of the year.
I think it's his pinky toe too. If it was one of the middle toes, he might have been able to play on it. But the pinky toe is, especially for your cutting and all that kind of stuff.
Big toe and little toe are the two you can't lose because you're pushing off the inside and the outside of your foot. Can't do it. Derrick Henry, maybe. We don't have confirmation yet 100% for sure. But Derrick Henry may be done for the year.
How did he break it? Did someone step on it, or did he just cut so hard that he broke his own toe?
Yeah, that's a lot of force that dude puts down on that foot. I don't know is the answer. I genuinely don't know what the answer is to that, how he broke it. I haven't seen anything. What I do know is that the Tennessee Titans were looking to be a good playoff team this year. We're looking to find their way in. Currently sitting 6-2 on top of the NFC South. Look, they're probably still going to make the playoffs because the Colts, Jags, and Texans. Colts looked a little better yesterday, but the Titans can find a halfway competent running back. They're probably still going to make the playoffs. Maybe they get Derrick Henry back in time for the playoffs. Maybe, but I'm not banking on it. That sucks. Also in injury news, Jameis Winston done for the year, torn ACL and MCL, and that knee, he got kind of dragged down awkwardly on an outside run off the left-hand side. He went out. And of course, as we all predicted, Lonzo, Trevor Siemian comes in to outduel Tom Brady. We all saw that one coming, didn't we?
Without a doubt, Trevor Siemian is a veteran quarterback, been around many programs, has done quite well wherever he's been.
Yeah. We all knew Trevor Siemian was going to come in and be the guy that took Brady down. That is 6 consecutive regular season victories for the Saints over the Buccaneers. Tom Brady is 0 for 3 in the regular season against the Saints now.
I missed this. Why was Siemian in?
Because Taysom has a concussion.
Okay.
Taysom in concussion protocols, which is going to be interesting now. He may or may not be available this weekend for the Saints, as the Saints right now are finding themselves in a spot that we don't know where they go. Good news for them is that this weekend they play the Atlanta Falcons, who are, Lonzo, bad at football.
You were complimenting their defense earlier, so they have
they're going to stop in the run.
They have some bright spots.
They can stop the run, but they're just not a good football team. By the way,
as my wife commented yesterday, does Matty Ice has like the longest neck of any football player ever.
Have you seen Davis Mills, the guy they started in Texans with the Texans a couple times?
Did not.
Davis Mills puts Matt Ryan's neck to shame. Like, it's lengthy.
Yeah, that's
It's lengthy. There you go. There's a better one.
It's like Geonosian, I believe. Is that from Star Wars? You know,
Yeah. That made the clones. Also, speaking of the ATL Falcons, Calvin Ridley scratched leading up to the game against the Panthers. Calvin Ridley's been good. Like, he's been one of the few bright spots for the Atlanta Falcons. Scratched before the game, and then during the game went on Twitter and said that he was taking a break from football to focus on his mental health. Says, I'm in a bad spot right now. I need to take some time to get my head back on my shoulders. The Falcons give him permission to step away and do just that to get his head right. And a lot of people got real mad about it, right? Like, a lot of people got real mad that you know, oh, hey, gut it up, get out there and do your job. And I had two thoughts, which is, one, the Falcons know where Calvin Ridley is better than we do, right? Would there be some people in America who would take a mental health break just to sit home and be lazy? Sure. But a lot of people really need it, right? It's what vacation's for. Second, the Falcons are going to know better where he is than we are. Maybe he genuinely was in a bad spot, and I'm always going to give the benefit of the doubt because I'd rather make sure. Yeah, I know that one hurt, didn't it? I'd rather make sure that a guy who definitely needs to step away and take a break has the ability to do so than not let the guy who really needs it step away in order to prevent the couple of people who would take advantage from doing so. Okay. Third thing is, the Falcons were 3-3 coming into that game and not getting much better, if we're being honest, right? Like, not getting much better. They got drilled by the Eagles. They got drilled by the Bucks. They barely escaped the Giants. They got beat by the Washington football team. They barely escaped the Jets. They barely escaped the Dolphins. They lost to the Panthers. Calvin Ridley being out there is not going to make a huge difference to the Falcons right now. All right? They're not a playoff team. They're not a wild card team. I have no issue with it. I got no problem with them doing that, with Calvin Ridley doing that, with the Falcons giving him permission, because, again, I'd rather make sure that dudes who need it get it.
There was a day and age where you couldn't do what he's doing. And,
100%.
And good for him for stepping up and saying, hey, I need help with something. And good on the team for allowing him to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Falcons fans are mad, but at the end of the day, do you care? You're 3-4. You ain't making the playoffs. You're not winning the division. You're not a wild card
You should
team.
care about the person, not the player.
Correct.
And them getting well.
Correct. I agree. All right, let's do this. Let's swap out to a break a couple minutes early if we can, because coming up next, Corey Diaz from the Greenville News is going to join us. South Carolina, of course, on the bye last week. The Gamecocks, not a great look against Texas A&M. So they get some time off. They get a couple of days, and now they get back on it. Is there a turnaround to be had out of the Gamecocks as the Gators come calling this weekend? Florida looked bad this weekend against Georgia. Can South Carolina bite? We'll talk with that. Corey Diaz next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Tired of living with all the joint pain? Well, if you've been to an orthopedic surgeon, you know the drill. Pain meds, steroids, physical therapy, right? When those Band-Aids don't work, you know what's next. Surgery. Major surgery.
John Boy and Billy here saying don't do it, not until you check out QC Kinetics. Get a second opinion. Learn all about these natural biologic treatments. Restorative, regenerative alternatives that can repair and restore damage
Need that number.
to your knees, shoulders,
Yes. Turn the stream. BRB stream. On to talk a little Gamecock football with us. Corey Diaz joins us on the show. What's up, fella? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Another day in paradise, buddy. Another day in paradise. In fact, Corey, fingers crossed, you and I may be grabbing a beer on Saturday because I think I have elected to make my first experience at Willie B a little Florida-South Carolina action this weekend. Florida gets decimated by Georgia over the weekend. And dare I say, Corey, and you can speak on this being over there in the midst of it all, do I hear faint bits of optimism out of Gamecock Nation that maybe they can steal a win from Dan Mullen's boys this weekend?
Probably, that's a good question. I would say probably since maybe coming into the okay, look, I think all South Carolina Gamecock fans assumed wins over Troy, assumed wins over Vanderbilt, but for a game where there was some optimism about a game that they probably would have entered as an underdog, at least according to Las Vegas. This is probably the first time this year since maybe Kentucky was coming into town that I think decent size of the fan base believe that. If they can put things together, take care of the football, not have, those boneheaded penalties that we've seen game in, game out, if you can play pretty clean, you give yourself a legitimate shot to win this football game. And look, man, obviously not super, super close to, the Florida football program right now, but I've got friends that cover Florida, and how things are going in Gainesville right now are it's bad. I mean, he had availability. Dan Mullen did this morning, and certain media members were not called on to take questions. No players were made available to talk to the media today. Things are really, really going down south in a hurry in Gainesville right now. So I do think that again, if South Carolina can check all those boxes of things that college football coaches tell you all the time that you can't do, and if you do them, you lose football games. If South Carolina can just not do those things against Florida on Saturday at home, it's a night game. We could next Monday when you and I talk again, Rob, we could be talking about South Carolina winning one of those games that it kind of seems like they win every single year. When you look at kind of maybe a slight talent gap and things of that nature that, hey, they ended up pulling it out and they ended up winning.
I'm intrigued by this game because, Corey, and we've talked about this, honestly, the biggest thing going wrong for South Carolina, and I think you mentioned it, are the dumb mistakes, right? Look, Texas A&M is just a better football team. And as I've said on the show many times, that one of the philosophies I got taught early was sometimes the other team's just better than you are. And A&M is a good team. But a lot of the issues with South Carolina in that game, the reason it got so out of hand were the dumb mistakes, the missed calls, the holding, the drop passes, etc. With a solid extra week to prepare, to work on that, have you been able to see, and I don't know if you've gotten eyes on at practice or not, has there been any sort of return to the foundations of football for South Carolina, or is it business as usual?
I think obviously, unfortunately we don't get, we don't get practice availability. We don't get a viewing period throughout the season. But from everything I've kind of heard, Shane has been very reluctant to, say that, Marcus Satterfield and the play calling has been, less than stellar and kind of what they've been looking for. He's been kind of defending Marcus and kind of his game plan and kind of what they identify each and every week in terms of, where they feel like the weaknesses are in the opposing defense and where they can attack and kind of put themselves in position to, sustain drives and score points and things of that nature. While I do think that it's almost business as usual, I do think that you might see a little more simplistic offensive game plan, for South Carolina moving forward. Obviously, the biggest thing to watch right now is Zeb Nolan's, health with the, coming off of the, the meniscus surgery on his right knee. Will he be able to go? I personally, and again, that we, at this point, we don't know. Obviously, we'll meet with Shane tomorrow with his weekly media availability, and I do plan on asking him this, because I have this suspicion that we will, once again, it seems like every game we've kind of seen this already for one reason or another, but I do think we will see two quarterbacks play on Saturday for South Carolina. I do think Jason Brown will get in the game, and it won't be, in the fourth quarter and South Carolina's down by, 4 touchdowns. I do think he'll see some significant playing time on Saturday because, whether Zeb's 100% healthy or not, at this point, with a month left in the year, there's only 4 games left. You have to win 2 games to reach that 6-6 mark and get bowl eligible for the first time since 2018, which would be a big win for this football program and Shane Beamer and his staff in the first year. I mean, with that still within reach, you still also have to start developing some guys for next year and beyond. And, Jason can, he can do some things, he can move out of the pocket, something that Zeb can't do, if things are collapsing, he can kind of get himself out of trouble a little bit. And potentially he could be a guy, at that quarterback spot that Mike can give this team the best chance to win 2 games, in these final 4. This Florida game looks very winnable. Next weekend in Columbia, Missouri, very winnable. The Auburn game, I've kind of said all year, I thought that was a winnable game for South Carolina. Now Auburn has surprised me a little bit under Brian Harsin in their first year. I think they've been playing a little better than I anticipated them playing. But I still think, you get them at your place, you could win that game. And then you got Clemson at the end of the year, man. And I still don't know what's going on there. So who knows, man? I mean, I think, again, you check all the boxes and you start to put the right guys in the right positions. You might can surprise some people here in this last month of the year.
Talking to Corey Diaz. He is the Gamecocks beat reporter for the Greenville News. Joins us every Monday at 1:30 to talk a little Gamecock football. What's key to winning this game, Corey? I mean, look, we can talk about get rid of the mistakes. We can talk about this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to X's and O's, man, what do the Gamecocks need to do if they are going to end up winning this game this weekend?
Yeah, look, we can look at, a couple of days ago and look at that result in the world's largest cocktail party and say, oh, man, Florida is, this is the worst Florida team we've seen since the, Ron Zook era or something. We could see that, if you just look at the box score and look at what the score was. But let's be honest, Georgia's probably the best team in college football right now. And that's coming from a guy that attended and graduated from the University of Alabama. I think Georgia right now is a better football team than Alabama. And so I just think Florida is not obviously on Georgia's level. So the score probably was about what it should have been on Saturday. But look, Florida's got a great defense. They've got a great defensive line. To me, the biggest key for South Carolina is if this offensive line, whether it's Ja'Kai Moore in there, Jackson Turntine, whoever is playing, on the edges of this offensive line on Saturday, they've got to block. And if they can give, whether it's Zeb or Jason at quarterback, if they can just give the quarterback enough time to just go through at least 2 reads before making a throw, that could be big for South Carolina because, again, we look at the score from this past weekend. We think, oh man, Florida is so down. They just don't have the talent anymore. Yeah, they are lacking in some spots offensively. I would say at the quarterback position, I think both Emory Jones and the Henderson kid, they have not looked great. But one thing Florida has always been able to have and has always recruited well is defense ends, is edge rushers, is defensive tackles, is outside linebackers, jacks and jack linebackers and things of that nature. So you're gonna have super athleticism. You're gonna have big talent at those positions, and you're gonna have to be able to block those in order to win this game on Saturday.
Corey Diaz is a beat reporter covering the South Carolina Gamecocks for the Greenville News over in Columbia. Defensive side of the football, it's kind of interesting because we know Florida has firepower. But there have been some games that Dan Mullen just doesn't seem to know how to manage it, especially when defenses get stingy, like Georgia's did last weekend. And we've seen a couple other defenses throw the barn at Florida to see what happened. Do we see the Gamecocks get a little more aggressive this weekend?
Oh, Rob, that's that may be the $1 million question right there. Or I guess if you watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, maybe the $64,000 question, right, to get you on the path to get to the $1 million question. But man, look, I would love to sit here and say with 100% certainty, oh yeah, we're going to see, South Carolina's offense take, 6 to 8 deep shots against Florida on Saturday. But quite honestly, man, from my vantage point and my perspective, having watched this offense operate for 8 games now, if there is any way that you can get, whether it is Kevin Harris, Quandre Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Juju McDowell, one or all 4 or a combination of 2 or 3 of those running backs, if you can get that run game going, it's going to open up that play action pass, and it's going to open up the ability to be aggressive and take shots against a pretty athletic and a quality Florida secondary. So to me, man, I truly believe that Marcus Satterfield and the offense, they've got to get the run game going. And I do think there are some opportunities, against this Florida defensive front. I know I talked about how good they are, but we've seen it almost week in, week out with them. They're susceptible to giving up big plays in the run game and kind of being out of alignment and not being in the right place and just kind of missing on tackles and things of that nature. So the opportunity is there. I know it seems like I've had conversations with a ton of people, in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks about, look, we've got Kevin Harris back. Why isn't he, hitting those big runs like we saw in 2020 and what's going on? And of course, obviously the struggle along the offensive line has gotten a ton of ink so far in the first couple of months of the year. But, I think that, just from an experience standpoint, Florida has faced some younger offensive lines so far this year. And we've seen some teams be able to kind of get the run game going against them some. So to me, man, it's got to be predicated on getting that run game going this weekend, man. And if they can, again, whether it's Zeb or whether it's Jason, Jason's got a big arm too. So if you can get the run game going, you set up that play action pass. You can kind of sink in the safeties and the corners, have them play up, and then you can kind of hit them over the top. So, obviously it all kind of works hand in hand, but I do think South Carolina's ability to run the football is probably going to be their first priority this weekend against Florida.
All right, Corey, let's go on the record. We got a couple of minutes left here. Break this game down for me ultimately. And on Saturday, when I leave Willie B, is it going to be a sense of celebration or sadness?
Oh, God. Well, you're asking me this at 1:40 on a Monday. If you ask me five more times before the game kicks off at 7 p.m. on Saturday, I probably will have 5 different answers for you. I think that this offensive line, with the extra week of preparation, I do think we'll see probably the best outing that we've seen from South Carolina's offensive line up until this point in the year. The thing that kind of gives me a little hesitation right now too, in fact, pick South Carolina to ultimately outright win this game is because I do think that Dan has a little something with, the 2 quarterback system that he's been running this year. And I think that, with them having to spend time, preparing for 2 different quarterbacks, obviously there are some similarities, in their skill set and things of that nature. But, look, I think back to the Florida-Alabama game. I mean, I think Alabama and the talent gap between them and Florida, obviously from what we've seen since is pretty wide. But Florida was able to get Alabama's defense on its heels with the 2 quarterbacks. And so it's going to be really, really, really imperative for Clayton White and his defensive guys to be as locked in on their assignments. And there's been times that we've seen this year, right, where there's been some busted coverages and some the offenses that hit big plays that's gone for touchdowns, and it kind of lets the wind out of the sails a little bit. So I think Florida probably wins this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's if it's an overtime game. I just think right now, I think with Florida's defensive line, their defensive front, and their edge rushers, against South Carolina's offensive line, and Florida's ability to kind of run both quarterbacks in there and kind of keep defense off balance a little bit, I do think that's probably just enough for Florida to escape Willie B on Saturday with the win. But again, Rob, you asked me tomorrow, and I'll probably say South Carolina wins by 2 touchdowns. I don't know. This game is a pick-em to me. It's a toss-up. I don't know who's going to win this thing, honestly.
We are going to be locked in on Saturday. He will be there as well. That's Corey Diaz. He is the Greenville News beat reporter covering the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Joins us every Monday. Big Dog, appreciate it as always. And if all goes right, we'll see you on Saturday, homie.
Sounds good, brother. Yeah, hit me up when you get in town, man. We'll hang out.
Done and done. That's Corey Diaz. He covers the South Carolina Gamecocks for the Greenville News, and he joins us here every Monday on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Quick break, and we are back after this right here on, ESPN Upstate. Cast. Be a part of the show at 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Texter says, Davis Miles' mother was a giraffe. She might be. Texter says, as a realistic South Carolina fan, the Gamecocks have zero chance against Florida, and I'd give Mizzou the edge over South Carolina. Another texter says, Gators win by 2 touchdowns or more, exclamation point. And another texter says, South Carolina versus Florida, a pick'em. What is Corey smoking? Has he not watched South Carolina play this year?
I think all those texts were sent from one person, and he'll be on the air in about an hour.
I can confirm those are from 3 different people.
Oh, okay.
Shocking, though, I know. That was my first. I was like, Mark, get off the text line. You know we're not supposed to text each other's show. Stop it. All right, we'll break that game down further when we come back. The third hour is wide open. Little bit of anything, little bit of everything. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. What a bicycle.
Stop speaking French.
Well, he rolled a nat 20 on concentration, didn't he? Ooh.
AutomotiveApp.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center updates powered by The Score. The championship 4 is set for the NASCAR Cup Series after they run at Martinsville on Sunday. Alex Bowman picks up the win, finishing in front of Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski. Chase Elliott wins the first and second stage, and now the 4 drivers who are going to run at Phoenix this Sunday looking for a Cup Series championship. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin, the 4 drivers who were eliminated from championship contention on Sunday. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano. The weekend at Phoenix will begin on Friday. Will be a full weekend of practice and qualifying. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most
So I played a couple more games on the Series X that I had played on the Xbox One, and there definitely is a difference as far as load times and as far as visuals go, which you would expect, but still waiting for that one game that only comes out on that. I also went back and loaded Skyrim and loaded Fallout 4. Skyrim, man. But I also downloaded this this mod that was supposed to affect everything. So I don't know if it's the mod that did it or if it's just it looks great, and it's getting that upgrade coming up in a couple weeks for the anniversary. So I want to see if it changes and gets even better for that. You get more mod space, so you can download some of the bigger mods and not worry about running out of space.
Last time I played Skyrim, I started playing with the mods, and I found one that gave you exploding chickens, and you could spam the exploding chickens. And so my entire battle strategy just consisted of amassing an army of exploding chickens and waiting for someone to hit. I would just let them have a shot.
Oh, that's excellent. There's a mod I downloaded called Worm's Tooth. It's an entire island. It might as well be a DLC.
Right.
I mean, it took 4 or 5 hours to get through the main quest, and there are a bunch of minor quests on there. So it was like I spent a lot of my sick time doing that. Mad World in the first break.
10-4. So I gotta be selfish for a second, and I just gotta talk about something. Saturday got my first Clemson experience. Went to Clemson FSU, and I just want to tell you about the day start to finish, because there were some parts that were great and some parts that were not so great, if I'm being honest. I want to start by saying when I got to the campus, I was actually on the phone with somebody. And I drove onto the campus, and I just immediately thought of Lonzo, because I got on campus, and, you take a left and a right or whatever, and I get going, and my GPS to get to the media parking lot kind of takes me like not through the main part of campus, but kind of around and then in a back door. And I'm on the phone with somebody, and I drive onto the campus, and I start cracking up, because it's like you get onto campus, and I tell the person on the phone with, I said, I hope the Clemson fans understand how important it is that I don't dislike them. And she said, why? And I said, because I just drove on campus, and there are cows everywhere. There are cows everywhere. And this one street smells like cows. It's just cow. There's just cows here, and it smells like cows here on Cow Street, Clemson, South Carolina.
So you thought that all that cracking that people have done about it being an ag school and the smell of cows and everything, that's just a rivalry thing. It's not true.
I mean, like, I knew that they were going to have cows. I know that there are cows there. I've heard about it. But I kind of thought it was like you guys were exaggerating it like a lot. First street I got onto, there's cows, and it smelled like cow. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So I get parked in the media lot, and I get, they have a little shuttle golf cart that takes you over to the front gate of Memorial Stadium. And the kid I'm riding on the golf cart with, who's driving me there, super nice guy. He's a student at Clemson. We were talking football, and he's asking me questions about the job. It was a nice conversation. Get to the stadium, get my press pass to check in, and I'm like, it's only like 1:30. I got 2 hours till kickoff. I kind of want to explore a little bit, right? Like, I haven't been on the campus yet. I've driven over the campus, but I haven't actually been there. I've been to the baseball stadium. I've been to Little John. I've walked around Memorial Stadium, but I have not yet actually seen like campus proper. So let me go check it out. So I'm walking around a little bit. I have one massive complaint. Could y'all have found a hillier place in America to build a damn college? Could y'all have found it anywhere? Y'all should have just built the college on the side of a damn mountain. I swear, Lonzo, I must have lost 10 pounds walking up and down hills for 2 hours. It's unbelievable. I'm not kidding you. My legs are sore today. And I woke up today and I'm like, why do my legs hurt so much? And then I realized it's because, the old joke, well, I had to walk uphill both ways. That's Clemson.
Well, I'm surprised, and I won't be surprised if you don't get a bunch of texts from Clemson people saying if you were in better shape, it wouldn't have bothered you so much.
I mean, they're not wrong, but still, damn.
It is rather hilly.
It's like every time you turn a street corner, it's like, this is uphill. I just made 4 lefts. They're all uphill. How?
We are in
campus defies physics.
In the foothills of, the Appalachian Mountains. So,
Right. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a hill or 3. I'm saying not every street has to point uphill. There's just no way to do it.
So when the founders came up, see that hill over there? We're going to put something over on that hill. We'll put something on that hill and up on that. That's where Dabo's going to live.
So I make my way back from campus proper back to where the tailgates are around the stadium. And I'll say this. Y'all throw an okay tailgate. It's not the liveliest tailgate I've ever been to, but y'all throw an okay tailgate. Now I had my ESPN shirt on. I had the ESPN Upstate shirt on. And as I'm walking through, I got stopped a handful of times. Hey, you work for ESPN? And I don't know how to answer that question because there's one of two possible conversations that happen when somebody asks me, do I work for ESPN? The first one is, oh, that's really cool. Do you have any stories? Right? The second one is, why y'all hate Clemson so much? It's not just Clemson. That's every school I ever go to. If I wear an ESPN shirt, if I roll with anything that's not like just a white T-shirt or a T-shirt from the team, if I've ever worked for a media broadcasting outlet before, and I get called out, hey, do you work for so-and-so? I always get asked one of two things. Oh, that's cool, man. Can you what's your favorite thing about it? Or why do y'all hate our team so much? Every time. But had a nice conversation with a handful of people. Our buddy Kevin from Moving the Chains, he was there tailgating, popped by his tailgate for a few minutes, had a good time. Not back a couple of plates of barbecue and whatnot. And then made my way into the stadium. I am going to say this, and this is where I risk getting in trouble, Lonzo. I know that I'm going to do it to myself.
Allow me to take the heat for you. Whatever you do, I'll just go one worse. I'm there for you.
Can we talk about the 25 most exciting seconds in college football?
I have, it's wrong, and it's something to see the domino theory in action and one trip, and it would be an amazing, hopefully no, but it would be amazing to see multiple tumbles down that hill.
So first off, I'll give them credit. They figured out the right way to do it, which is they don't run down en masse. Like it's like 2-3 players at a time spread out, right? Which I realized after I saw it. I was like, that's the right way to do it. Because I had the same thought. I'm like, what happens if the third dude down the hill just eats it, just wipes out? I'm like, would that cause a mass catastrophe?
And if you've been on the hill, it's not the. I mean, you could feel how that could happen.
It's a steep hill.
Yeah,
it's a steep hill. So I'm like, all right. I get in the stadium, and Texter says that Clemson flagship station has got Clemson fans to be ESPN haters. Let them hate. Let them hate.
Wait. There's another station?
No.
Okay.
So I'm sitting in the press box. I go in a little bit early. By the way, and I'll give them all the credit in the world. It was one of the, as a media member, one of the nicest game day experiences I've ever had.
It's kind of old though. I mean, as far as the stadium itself,
box is beautiful.
Yeah, but still, it's been around for a while. It's got the smell of mildew in places. It's you can if you're quiet, you can hear the creaking of the wood. I mean, the thing's like 55 years old or something like that.
I will say the press box was nice. The pregame was really well done. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a beautiful press box. The folks that worked there were all incredibly nice.
What'd you eat?
Barbecue. It was the pregame was a salad, cornbread, barbecue, home fries, and then like 9 different types of cookies and brownies, and a soda fountain. So what I didn't know, because not every school does this, Lonzo, is that at halftime, they roll out a whole new buffet. They bring out a whole new set of food for halftime. So I go in, knock down some barbecue. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm a barbecue snob. So it was a B- effort. Texter says, Willie B smells like crack and butt, Lonzo.
Well, the question is, Texter, how do you know what crack and butt smells like?
Oh, snap. Meet me at the flagpole at recess. So knock down some food. And I'm like, all right, I got to see the most 25 exciting seconds or 25 most exciting seconds of college football. And I go out. And I'm going to say this. Clemson's band deserves credit because they were ripping banger after banger after banger all game long. That being said, I do have one question. And I'm asking this sincerely, not as a hit job. Do y'all mic up the band? Does Clemson mic the band? Because pregame, they were a certain volume. Later in the game, there was a point. It was a PAT, right? So Clemson scores. And they're setting up for the PAT, and the band's playing Tiger Rag. And they're playing Tiger Rag as Clemson sets up for the PAT. And as they're setting up for the PAT, it's like, ba-ba-ba-da, 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 ba-ba-ba-da. And I thought either this band has the most incredible volume control as a unit that I've ever seen out of a marching band in my life, or the band's mic'd. And I wonder which one it is.
I'm guessing it's probably mic'd, which I have no problem with.
Yeah, it's fine if it is. I'm just curious. So then I watched the 25 most exciting seconds. And and maybe this is just me. And Clemson fans, I'm not, again, this is not a pot shot. I'm just trying to be me with you. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I was awaiting this moment where now, I absolutely agree that if you're a Clemson fan, that's your thing, dude. That's your thing, right? Like, I got to tell you, by the end of the third quarter, y'all, if I heard the tomahawk chop again, my head was going to explode. And it's like the Florida State band never stopped with the tomahawk chop. I thought my head was going to explode. But that's their thing, right? Like, that's their thing. They don't give a damn if you like it or not. That's their thing.
It could have been worse. You could have been hearing Rocky Top over and over again.
I've been in one Tennessee game, Lonzo. I've been in one Tennessee. It was an away game. I saw Tennessee at Florida like 10 years ago. Dude, if I never go to another, I have to go to one more game because I gotta go to a game at Neyland. But if I never go to another Tennessee game, I'll be fine with it. As many times as they do that. So I guess that's what makes college football so good, right? Like, your traditions are your traditions. Your things are your things. And you love them. I watched it and I'm like, that was it? That's it?
See, you're setting yourself up for something, though, because if you do get a chance to go Saturday, then the people who are hearing you talk about these 25 seconds are going to ask you to compare the opening for South Carolina.
So keep in mind.
Playing of 2001.
Keep in mind that I am doing this as a neutral observer, right? I'm not a Clemson fan. I'm not a South Carolina fan. I am a fan of both. And I know you guys are tired of hearing me say this, but it is what it is. I am a fan of both, Zoe. For the one reason I tell you every time that people call me a hater. I'm not a Clemson hater. I'm not a South Carolina hater. I'm not a Panther hater. I'm a fan of all three teams. I want all three teams to go undefeated every year. Do you know why? Because we make more money. Okay?
I do. To counter that, I will say that Clemson has been much more interesting this year. There are more things to talk about. There's more. There's because they're struggling. And that comes from them doing so well for so long. Now that they're struggling, it's like, we can talk about this. We can talk about that. We can talk about this. While when they're just winning, and say, yeah, they're winning again.
Texter says, hey, Rob, if you didn't like the barbecue, just wait until next week, by the way. If you want to know the menu, all you have to do is call the correctional facility down in the armpit of the South. Does that mean Clemson's at Miami next week? I'm confused. Texter says, never understood why having college football players run down a hill like a bunch of grade school kids is called exciting. I
think it'd be very exciting if you're a big old lineman running that hill going, please, God, don't let me fall. Please don't fall.
I don't know, man. I just, again, this is that. And in fairness, in that moment, that was a moment that I remembered why I love college football, right? I love college football because college football is special and different to everybody for different reasons, right? It's special and different to everybody for different reasons. I didn't get it. But here's the thing. It didn't matter if I got it or not because the 60,000 that turned up to watch that game wearing purple and orange, they got it. That's their thing. That's their moment. That's the moment that they love. That's the moment that they will always remember. That's their thing. And that's cool to me. There's a lot of dumb traditions in college football that if you're not a fan of that team, you go, wait, what? Y'all do what now? Florida. Sorry, Mark. Don't get mad at me. The Mr. 2-Bits thing? That's lame, dude. It's lame. 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1. Off for the Gators. Stand up and hop. Okay, it's 1933. Ben Hill Griffin.
I gotta admit, I'd never heard that before, really, until just now, and yeah, that's pretty lame.
So the tradition comes from there was a professor at the University of Florida who, for like 60 years, before every game, starting back in 1902 or whenever he took over, He'd go on the field and he'd wear a yellow shirt, khakis, a gator orange tie, and he would stand at midfield and he would point to one section and they yell 2 bits and then another 4 bits and then another 6 bits and then $1. And then he'd hype up the crowd and they'd yell all for the Gators, stand up and holler. All right. And now he passed away a couple of years ago. And when he passed away, Lonzo, now they bring in Florida Gator alum who are, they're celebrity or whatever. I think not Terry Crews. Who's the wrestler that I'm blanking on right now? You know who I'm talking about. Big Gator guy. Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, who looks a lot like
looks
Terry
a lot
Crews.
like him, yeah. Titus O'Neil came down and did it a few days ago. They have like big musicians coming through that are Florida fans or grads come down and they do it. It's their thing. And if you're not a Florida fan, it's annoying. It's like, all right, you're doing a chant from the 20s. That's your hype thing. But the 90,000 in Ben Hill Griffin lose their mind over it. It's their thing. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. I think it's hokey. But the Florida fans don't care because they lose their minds for it. And that's cool. I didn't get 25 seconds of dudes running down a hill to be all that exciting, but it's not mine to be found exciting. That's Clemson's thing. And their fans lose their mind over it because it's their thing. And that's why college football is great. That's why the dotting of the I at Ohio State. Is it that big of a deal to have one guy with a trumpet run apart from the rest of the band? No.
Well, let's face it, that band itself is pretty famous on its own.
Dope.
So, I mean,
Ohio State's band's good.
The Rush thing was wicked.
Ohio State's band is good. We're having one guy with a trumpet run in a different place from the rest of the band isn't all that cool, except to Ohio State fans, where it is the moment to lose your mind and get hyped for the game. That's why college football is great, man. Everybody's got their own thing. Everybody's got their own moment, and it doesn't matter if anybody else cares, whether it's cool or hokey or lame or the coolest thing ever. Because to them, that was the moment. And I got to relive that. Going, all right, I don't get why this is big, but I get that these 65,000 people at Memorial Stadium at Death Valley are losing their mind over it, and that's awesome. That's awesome. That's college football, baby. All right, let's take a quick break. I got some texters that have been coming in. We'll hit those when we come back in a minute. You know the old expression, never meet your heroes, Lonzo? I got to meet one of my heroes over the weekend, as a matter of fact. Got to meet one of my heroes. That was cool. I'll share that story with you as well. All that more coming up on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Nah, well.
Say about the 2021 version of Mad World. Halloween may have come and gone, but you know what? The spirit of Halloween is with you always. Creepy, I know, right? Mad World is still open, and you can still go visit Mad World. So if you said, too many people at Halloween, I don't like crowds. Well, guess what? You can still go to madworldattractions.com. You can still order your tickets, and you can still go experience the #1 haunted attraction in all of South Carolina. Go out, enjoy it, get that last little bit of Halloween scare in before we get into Christmas season, today, according to some people who just have no respect for Halloween and Thanksgiving. But you can go to madworldattractions.com. madworldattractions.com. Grab your tickets, reserve a time, get out to Mad World and see the biggest, baddest, scariest Mad World yet, with more scenes, more actors, more haunts, more effects than ever before. Mad World is your home for Halloween fright, and they are still open. Go to madworldattractions.com, madworldattractions.com. Get your tickets now. It's the 2021 version of Mad World.
Series, but now if they're going to do that, they're going to have to do it in Houston as Game 6 and then 7 if needed. Will both be played in Houston. The pitching matchup for Game 6 tomorrow. Max Fried will go for the Braves. It will be Luis Garcia going for the Astros. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is sports app.
I'm going to be so glad when this is over.
State Sports Center update. I'm Matt Pauley.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday morning scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. There's a snap. It's reverse. Wade Meadows, right side. Touchdown. Wade Meadows. It is a one-score game.
Saturday morning scramble. ESPN upstairs everywhere on the Odyssey and powered by official grocery store of the Saturday morning scramble.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Fisher is different? How? Don't you just ride the wave?
No, we actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. Like this, we understand that clients want proactive communication and guidance.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios to their specific goals and needs. We even offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
But you still sell investments that come with high commissions, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yeah, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Liberty.
Sorry, man. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need.
Attorney Joe Cordell. New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers one of life's hardest blows. The relationships you counted on are suddenly gone. But you don't have to walk through this alone. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has guided men through the challenges of divorce.
We played some Back for Blood last week. That's
Is that the new one?
Yeah, it's a little harder than what I thought it would be. Yeah.
Did you multiplayer it?
Yeah. We could have used a fourth because the it's set up for 4 players and the fourth person was a bot and the bot didn't do so well. And I think it's one of those.
Who are you playing with?
Cameron and Raven. I think it's one of those where if you don't have the fourth person, you may not be able to get through it. So we couldn't get through the.
When did you play?
I think it was Thursday, maybe or Friday, Thursday or Friday. I can't remember.
I haven't downloaded it. It's in my queue to download. So next time y'all play, let me know.
And the game is not bad. It's just it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And having a fourth person, I think, would help.
Well, next time y'all play it, if y'all need a fourth, text me.
Yeah, me and Raven left Cameron behind once. And it made him mad. So you have to run across this bridge, and he got caught. When you get caught, man, they tear you up.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of those creatures are really hard to hit because they have glowy bits, but they're in strategic spots where you got to be really accurate to hit them to stop them. There's this one dude with a really long arm, and where you got to hit him is on that shoulder of that long arm, and he can hit you, I don't know, from like 10 feet away.
Right.
But there are safe houses along the way where you can buy more health and some better guns and things like that.
Where you only pay for what you need. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
But you're like, why did I slow down? You look down, there's a zombie on your leg. It's just like, no, get off me.
Started out by having a shout out my dude Brandon, my buddy Brandon from back down in Destin, drove up for Game 5 of the Braves Astros series. What a Ugh, what a disappointment last night. Adam Duvall goes yad for a granny in the opening frame for the Bravos. And then they end up giving it all back. Give it all back. Lose 9-5 last night. Freddie Freeman would also put up a solo spot in the 5th, but just not enough for the Braves. Hey, look, I'm trying. I've got my hand on the panic button. And why wouldn't I? It's an Atlanta lead 3-1. Okay? It just is what it is. I'm trying not to push the panic button, but I've got my hand resting on it because it's a 3-1 series lead, but now you got to win 1 out of 2. And you got to do it in Houston. Now, the good news is, if I'm looking for the silver lining, as the great one loves to do, the Braves have already won a game down in H-Town, right? The Braves have already won a game down in Houston. They've got a dub. They know they can do it again. The good news is that you're throwing your best 2 remaining pitchers. That Morton injury, how big does that Morton injury look now, right? You ended up having to go 2 effectively bullpen games in 4 and 5. You split 1-1 in those 2 games, which, I mean, if I'd have told you before that's what was going to happen, you'd have been happy with it. But now you got Max Fried going in game 6, who back in game 2 was not great, but that was the exception, not the rule. And then if it goes to 7, you've got the better pitcher because no matter who Houston throws at you in game 7, you're putting Ian Anderson on the hill, who has been good, right? Who's been good. So I still don't get why you decided to open the game last night instead of going with Smiley or one of the guys out of the pen that can give you some starting innings. You went with Tucker Davidson, a guy who hadn't thrown the baseball since June of this year. And you put him on the bump in a World Series game. I didn't get that call. Now, I've had a couple of texters that have written in. In fact, one earlier said, let me see if I can go back, scroll down and find that text. Texter said, Rob, this team is different. Masterful job by Snit on the game management. Pitching-wise, the Braves are in a much better position going forward. And I agree. That is correct. The Braves are in a better position going forward. Except for that statement to be true, the Braves had to lose last night, right? I feel like Snicker was kind of managing that from the perspective of, I'm okay if we lose this game, as opposed to what my buddy Oklahoma State Scooty said before the game, go out there and bleeping take it. It is game 5 in your house. You can put this thing away in Atlanta. Don't risk having to go 1-1 on the road at a very good Houston Astros team. Go out there and blanking take it. And I felt like by putting Davidson on the hill, it was kind of a punt before the game really even got going. And I don't know why. Why would you put on that game by putting up a kid who hasn't pitched since June? Put him in the pen, send Drew Smiley out there. Let Smiley start it for you. Give yourself a chance. I got to wonder how many games teams have lost when they've had a grand slam in the first 3 frames. In the postseason. I can't imagine it's many. Historically speaking, I can't imagine there's more than 1 or 2, with last night being one of them. Yes, the Braves are in a better pitching position with Fried and Anderson to go 6 and 7 than the Astros are, because remember, Game 6 starter was supposed to be Urquidy for the Astros. They threw him last night. I think he only threw like 18 or 19 pitches, but now you got to send that dude out there on 2 days rest after 16, 17 pitchers if you start him in 6. Otherwise, Astros go bullpen game. It's a good setup, but the only way that you can say that it's a good setup for the Astros is if the Braves lose last night, and I feel like they kind of punted that game a little bit, which is disappointing. Finish them. They're on the ground. Your cleats on their neck. Finish them. And it just kind of felt like the energy left that team last night. It just felt like the energy is out of the Atlanta Braves sails now. The wind is gone. Houston has all the momentum. They took the momentum from you last night, not just by winning the game, but by coming back from 2 different deficits, 2 separate deficits. They came back to take the lead. They have the momentum now. And while they're not set up as well off the hill, If the Braves don't light up the bats in Houston, don't tell me there's no chance the Braves don't blow a 3-1 lead and lose in 7. Because they absolutely can. And they absolutely might. You got 2 to win 1. You got your best 2 non-Charlie Morton pitchers available. But you have no momentum. None. Texter said that the Braves squander their championship last night. I mean, not yet. 2 to win 1 on the road isn't awful. But damn, how much better does it feel if they put him away last night? You don't have to risk it. Texter says, why isn't Will Smith the starting pitcher? He's been awesome as a closer. That's why, right? I had the same thought last night. And one of the guys from the Swamp Rabbits who was out with me last night says, actually, no, I'm lying to you. It was our buddy Andrew. Buddy Andrew from the Reedy River Riot was with us. And Andrew says, you don't change up what you're doing with Matzik. You don't change up what you're doing with Smith. Both of those guys have found their groove. They found their rhythm. They know exactly where they are, exactly what they're doing, exactly what they need to do. You don't change that up. And I actually agree with that, right? I actually agree with that. So that's the thing. I can't make a huge move at the beginning of Game 5, even if I want to. I can't make a huge move at the beginning of Game 5 and take a big risk. Why? Because if you do and it fails, you have really screwed yourself up in 6 and 7. Let me get Jason in here to talk a little Braves baseball before we hit the break. Jason, welcome in, big fella.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. It's disappointing last night for sure. I thought going in last night, there's going to take a lot of runs to win the game. I really like the way the starting pitching was setting up, and it absolutely did. The Braves probably had a couple more chances. They could have got a few more runs, and it didn't happen. Give credit to Houston for coming through last night. But like you said, I picked them in 6, and going 2 out of 3. They took 2 out of 3. You want to take all 3 and be done with this, of course. But they've done well in the playoffs. The last, when they lost, when they lose, they follow that up with a win. They've done that with, of course, against Milwaukee, LA, both 2 times against LA. They've done it once this series against Houston. So just one more time, let's squeeze every bit of talent they squeeze every bit of talent of this team that they can. Bring home another trophy. I like our chances. Freddie got to come through if he wants to be the big guy. Wants be eventually paid the big bucks. So this is put the butter to the bread. Let's get it done. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it, Jason. Appreciate you jumping in, man. Good to have you. 844 GSP ESPN 844-477-3776. I don't disagree. The Braves have followed up every L with a dub in the postseason. Problem is, up until last night, they were undefeated at home. The Astros, up until Game 2, had been completely defeated at home in the World Series. And both of those trends have changed. In the last game at Houston, they won. In the last game in Atlanta, they lost. Again, I like a situation where the Braves need 2 to win 1. All right? It's good odds that they can get 1. But it's a lot to ask. Texas says, AJ Minter choked the game away for the Braves last night after being stellar all postseason. I'm not going to put it just on him, though, right? Dansby had a big error last night that led to a base runner that scored. Minter wasn't the only one that came up and had some issues in some big spots off the bump. You don't have that. Look, you needed to pull Davidson 1 inning earlier than you did. That was evident to everybody. First off, you left him in the lineup. You gave him an at-bat in the, bottom of the 2nd? You gave him an at-bat? And then you pulled him? Why did he go to the dish? Why didn't you pinch hit for him in that spot? Go ahead and make the change then. I don't understand. There were just some coaching decisions that I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, play a little guessing game. Because I was going to talk about another thing that happened to me at the Clemson game on Saturday. But I just came across a video from a major college football coach that blew my mind when I heard the audio for it during the last break. I'm going to play it for you, and we're going to see if Lonzo can guess who the coaching question is. We'll do that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
This feature is sponsored by Navage. Worried about what you're breathing in? With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets this and every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offsides with Mark Ryan. This Thursday will be at 903 Anderson Road in Piedmont. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
Restrictions may apply. Price and cost of coverage may vary. Call Protect My Car for details. Look, money's tight for everyone right now. It's been a tough year, and you sure don't need to get hit with a big unexpected bill. Like, what if your car breaks down right now? How do you pay the bill? It makes your transmission, that's over $3,000. Your engine, even minor repairs like your air conditioning can hit your wallet. Here's the good news: if you have a car, truck, or SUV that's $19.99 or newer, you can stop paying for repairs right now. That's right. With Protect.
You good over there, buddy?
Pressure feels good. Usually these things are in the back of my head, but
Right.
it's been in the front. It's weird. So glad I got a bunch of computer work to do when we're done. Can't wait for that.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases, and with Babbel's interactive.
Don't have November scheduled together yet, so because we got basketball.
Yeah, buddy.
And nobody to run it. So and we've got the week of Thanksgiving that I've got to figure out. Fun stuff.
Churches is adding Applewood smoked Texas cut bacon to our all-white meat chicken sandwich. Yep, these two are best flavors forever. Try our new Texas cut bacon chicken sandwiches today. Churches, bringing that down home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
New FanDuel fantasy players. Your day is about to get 20% better. Start playing fantasy this football season. FanDuel will give you a 20% bonus on your first deposit, up to $500. That's a big-time bonus, and all you need to do to claim it is make your first deposit. If you've never tried,
So I find myself in a dilemma. If I get in the hot tub,
yep,
I'll be able to breathe better and
Right.
I'll feel better. But there's cold air that I'll be breathing in, and I don't know if it's the best thing to do.
When I get to the point you're in, I would do anything to clear my nose. Anything to clear my nose.
Also, I've decided I will not watch Peyton and Eli tonight because I want to pay attention to what's on the field. And if you watch them, that's why I don't get why they push that so much. How much of the game are you actually watching?
Well, so I found myself going back and forth because they did the Saints game last Monday. And I think that broadcast will work if it's not your team.
Right.
If it's your team,
Right.
it's not right. All right, so I'm scrolling through Twitter during the last break, and I come across a head coach of a major college football team with a clip of audio from his press today. Now, I'll give you a hint, Lonzo. This is a college football coach who lost a big game this weekend, okay? Here is what that coach said during his press conference after practice today.
Coach, the topic of recruiting has come up a lot the last couple of days from a few angles. Is it a different approach needed for the level of consistency?
Well, we're in the season right now. We'll do recruiting after the season, and when it gets to recruiting time, we can talk about recruiting.
We're in the season right now. When it gets to recruiting time, we can talk about recruiting.
I find that refreshing. We're focused on the now and not the future, and there'll be time for that later.
Right, in an ideal world. But A, we don't live in an ideal world, and B, this coach definitely does not live in an ideal world right now. This coach is on the hot seat, and he just told the press, the media covering his team, after what happened to them this weekend, he just told the team, the media team around him, I'm not focused on, arguably the most important aspect of my job because it's not time for that. Dude, I know there are periods of time, dead windows, that you can't talk to, you can't collect, you can't interact with recruits, but recruiting never stops. Even if you can't directly interact with kids, you got to be doing stuff to get the best kids to come to your school, especially when you're on the hot seat. Any idea who this coach was, by the way, Zoe?
I don't recognize the voice, so I'm going to go with Dan Mullen.
That is exactly who it is.
Because I was thinking about who had the biggest loss of,
That's exactly who it was. Dan Mullen said, we're in the season now. We'll do recruiting after the season. When it gets to recruiting time, we can talk about recruiting. Now, I'm going to assume that what Dan Mullen meant here isn't, I'm not actively recruiting, right? For his sake, I've got to assume he doesn't mean I'm not currently recruiting. I hope that's not what he meant. If it was, you got to fire him like yesterday, right? Like you just got to. He's already on the hot seat, I think, with Florida fans as it is. I'll be very interested to hear Mark Ryan's take this afternoon, Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel from 3 to 7 right here on ESPN.
He's already tweeting about Dan Mullen right now.
Is he?
Almost as
is he?
Yeah, right when you said that 2 minutes ago.
Let's see. This is really pathetic. In our field, I always have to face the music. There isn't an opt-out on days when you have to eat crow, and you learn that in college. Dan Mullen is almost 50 and goes poof when the going gets tough. Weak sauce, end quote. Okay, Mark's hitting the hammer on it with this one. He's bringing down the hammer. You can't do that. I actually got to admit, I'm a little bit astounded here, Zoe. Part of the reason that I got this job was because me and Mark Ryan agree on like 3% of things that we talk about on the shows. Like we rarely agree. I agree with him on Florida's head coach. That's nuts to me. You can't. This is not. No, Dan, no. You don't say, yeah, I'm not going to talk about the most important thing going on in college football, especially because here's the thing. Talking about the here and now is great, Zoe. I agree. You got to be focused on what's happening in front of you, about winning games. I agree with you. But there comes a point at every level of football, NFL, college, high school, middle school. There comes a point where, and you don't have to like this, and if you're a big believer in pride and all that, you don't.
What would have been better if you said, well, if we don't give a better showing than what we did today, ain't nobody going to come here.
Yeah.
Would that have been better?
Literally say anything that shows me that you are actively working on a problem. Say anything that shows me that you are actively working on a problem. Because right now there's problems. And now I got a head coach who's been asked, hey, the most important thing you can do to fix the problems around here? Bringing in better recruits, bringing in better players, getting back to where we're supposed to be? How are you handling that? And what it sounds like to me is, I'm not. That is an insane sound clip to me.
Something else he could have said was that, we, our assistant coaches are working on that right now. We've got a plan in place, and we've got our eye on some really good prospects across the country. Can't wait to get to that. But right now I need to solve the problems for this season before I get to next season.
Yeah. Just anything. That is one of the worst clips I've ever heard from a college coach, especially one on the hot seat. Unreal. Wow. Texas says, Zoe, breaking news, Derrick Henry have surgery on injury, and Adrian Peterson headed to the Titans to talk.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yep.
We did.
Not Adrian Peterson, though.
Well, I mentioned it to you off the air. And
That's true.
probably, yeah.
That's true. So Adrian Peterson.
So if you were watching on the stream.
Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. Search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. That's how you listen to the stream.
All these people are coming out and saying that he might sign. He hasn't signed yet. He's on his way there. It doesn't mean he's going to sign. He may get there and not pass his physical. It's a possibility.
You ready for you ready for my hot take? You ready for my we've been waiting for this moment to find out where a dude was going to land. I got the landing spot. You ready for the landing spot? Cam Newton to the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. And I know that also the Panthers need a quarterback too, which I think would be kind of weird. I think they would be the last place he would go, but him to the Saints, you never know.
Kind of like the fit. I mean, it's not an incredibly different style of football from what Jameis does. There are very few of us that think that Taysom Hill is the long-term solution. I'd love him to stay in New Orleans for as long as he wants to stay in New Orleans, but if he is dead set on being a starter.
But is Cam going to come in for half of a season somewhere? Is he going to be willing to do that?
What else has he got going on?
No, I know.
He getting paid nowhere else.
I know, and he may not need to get paid.
And he gets to play under Sean Payton. For a guy who likes to freestyle a little bit, who's better than Sean Payton to be his coach?
That is true.
I think Cam Newton. I wonder if Sean Payton and Mick Loomis make a call today to Cam Newton, bring him down to the NOLA. Let's take a break. Twitter trending topics to wrap it up when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Scientists may have detected signs of a planet transiting a star outside of the Milky Way, and which could be the first planet ever to be discovered outside of our galaxy. That's rad.
Mostly sunny this afternoon, high around 69. Tonight, mostly clear and near 36. By Tuesday, sunshine high 68 degrees. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, high around 56.
And there's someone on that planet, and his name is, let's go with Rob, who is saying there is no life outside of this universe.
No, I have never said that. In fact, I've even gone so far as to say, Lonzo, that I would be shocked if there is not. I just won't say that there is. I do not make proof positive statements without evidence. I will not say something exists without definitive proof that it does. I think it is hyper likely that there is life elsewhere on the planet. But you cannot claim to know that.
I don't think I've ever heard hyper likely before. It's
uber likely.
No. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I completely understood it. I'm just saying I've never heard it before. In all my years of life, I have never heard that.
Thomas, I don't think I've ever said it before. According to Thomas Goldkamp, who's the Florida beat reporter for 24/7 Sports, the Gators, Dan Mullen walked off of this press conference, left, killed all media availability, and they've just announced that they have canceled all remaining media availability for the entire of the week outside of Dan Mullen's mandatory.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. That's what he was talking about.
Call 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
Let's see. Steven says, did you see GTA is coming to Switch? Lonzo, I have two questions. A, do you have /play Switch?
I have a Switch Lite. The problem with the Switch Lite is the screen is smaller than what I thought it would be, and my eyes are getting worse. So there's that, although we'll play everything that the normal Switch plays.
See, I
not only do
whether or not I want to buy a Switch. Because there's part of me that's like, if I ever have time for video games, I just play on the Xbox.
Yeah, if I
On the
remember,
flip side, there's been lots of times where I'm just sitting around doing nothing, and I'm like, I could be playing a game right now.
I'll try to remember to bring my Switch Lite in tomorrow so you can hold it and you can play something.
I've gone back and forth.
I think I've got like 6 or 7 games on there. Some of which you've already played, so it'd be easier to just jump into.
Right.
I think switches are great for if you go on trips, but I don't go anywhere. You know, but I have one in case I do go somewhere. I have taken it with me when I went to the beach and, you know, for late nights when I can't sleep.
Never stop gaming.
Absolutely. Yesterday, I felt so bad I couldn't game, though. That was weird.
That was the
yeah.
volume from this computer still being on.
Oh, that would be why. It's all
I was
right.
like, what is that? No, oh, that's me.
It's all right. It isn't like that hasn't happened before many times with other hosts too. So you're in good company, and it's all been my fault. So no, I should have turned it down.
That's something we do once a month, maybe.
Hey, where are you?
So you got some squeaky wipers?
There it is.
We've got deals to help you get the job done and get ready for rain and fall weather. Right now, you can get a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail or email if you buy 2 Rain-X silicone and edge wipers. And we've even got more ways to shop, like our free same-day store pickup and stay delivered.
No, I turned my Xbox on yesterday and started to play something. I was like, man, I can't even play. That's how bad this is.
Yeah.
So instead, I watched the last episode of Doom Patrol, which I'm completely caught up on now. Again, you would like it. It's pretty. It's way out there though. It's.
I'm on finishing up the last season of What We Do in the Shadows right now. Titans is next on my list.
Good.
I'm scratching them off as I go.
I'm a little behind on Titans. I'm a couple episodes behind, but this season's been pretty good.
Yeah, I got Titans coming up.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics. I can say that so well because my nostrils are like fused together and my head hurts, and I don't have to overthink it. The first thing that is trending is Adrian Peterson.
Well, we know why. Derrick Henry is now out 6 to 10 weeks, which could carry him through till the last couple of weeks of the season. He's going to be hoping that the Tennessee Titans will make the playoffs. He was having what I think was a without question MVP year. I think we'd have seen an MVP award go to a running back for Derrick Henry. Adrian Peterson on his way to Nashville, Tennessee right now. ESPN announcing that they are officially signing the 7-time Pro Bowl running back to a contract. Look, I'm curious, right? Adrian Peterson is way long in the tooth. Most guys don't make it to his, but he's had some time to rest. So, question mark maybe.
Same style of runner. He just doesn't. I don't think he has. Well, he doesn't have the power that Derrick Henry has. I don't think you have to change up the play calling as much. You're definitely not going to get the same kind of production out of him. All right, the next thing that's trending is Toby and Andrew.
So those are 2 of the 3 last Spider-Men. I believe it was officially revealed a few days ago that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield would be in the new Spider-Man movie, which is kind of sick, to be honest.
It was another leak, which I haven't looked at.
Okay.
And so I don't know if it was. I know that management over the whole thing is saying, well, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Well, it's because their spoilers have gotten
yeah.
out. It's because their spoilers have gotten out. Now I am curious. Are we going to get to a point? Because now that's a pretty hefty Sony Marvel bleed over there that is a little unexpected. If they are willing to shake hands at that point, fingers crossed, could we get Venom in there somewhere?
Well, see, here's the thing. You haven't seen Venom 2. If you had, that question would already be answered. Yes.
Morbius 2?
No, Morbius 1.
Morbius 1? I was going to say, they haven't made a Morbius.
It's a teaser. Jared Leto is Morbius, and he is he's also hinted about Spider-Man. Because Morbius also someone who crosses over with Spider-Man.
Yeah. But also, can we stop with Jared Leto? Can we just stop with Jared Leto, please? Just
the Jared Leto Joker cut I thought was pretty good.
It was the best 45 seconds of a Joker since Heath Ledger.
There you go. There you go.
So, you know.
All right. One more is trending.
Yes. Now, this is what I'm doing the moment we get off the air. Disney Plus has dropped the first trailer for the Book of Fett.
And I've watched it. Yeah.
And?
I'm going to let you watch it.
All right. 46, 45, 44, 43. I'm just counting down till the show's over. That's it for us. We're handing it off. Y'all, stay tuned for Offsides with Mark Ryan. Because I got to suspect that Mark is going to be coming in freaking hot after the last 30 minutes of Dan Mullen. In fact, I'm going to go watch the Book of Fett and then immediately turn on Mark to hear what he's got to say. It is going to be blazing hot takes today. He and Diesel are up next with Offsides. I am Rob Brown. He's the great Malonzo. Hopefully, hey, feel better, buddy. I don't know why I'm telling you that like I'm not going to go sit in your office with you for like 4 more hours. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. What's up, dog?